episode on the Radar Radio. I got my girl Stones in the building. What's up? Yo,
up?
your release party, EP release party, so dope. Let me tell you something, because I wasn't running on Hispanic people time that day. It was really odd. I got out of work and I was like, I got like nothing to do before this release party. So I was just walking around. And then I was like, all right, I think it's time. And then I got there and I was the first person there. And it was when you were doing sound check.
Yeah.
And then I got to like witness the sound check, and I always think that's so dope, because like I think the best time to see an artist like perform is like when there's nobody else around, like when they're really comfortable before like the madness begins and all that. And you performed on your single "Switch It Up," and that was super dope. And I was sitting there and I watched the visual that day. I was like, she's killing it. It was so dope. And by the way, that party was super lit.
Thank you.
I got really drunk.
Good.
And it was a good time.
Good. That's what it was
and
all
for. Your friends really showed out.
They really did.
They really showed out. That was super dope.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I had a release party, one in Texas and one here.
Right, because you're from Dallas.
Yes, I'm originally from Dallas. And both of them, you know, I was like, the whole intention for the release parties was like just to gather some people and to just, you know, kind of just vibe out and have a good night. And both times, way more people showed up than I thought was, so it was a good turnout.
But that's always a good feeling, because you like wow, you like okay, I'm popping out here.
I'm popping, yeah.
Did you feel good about like your performances and all that? Because I think you killed it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I feel great about it. I mean, this was my first time performing any of that content, any of my like original songs. So I feel great about it. I was just excited to share that with everybody.
So you're originally from Dallas, right?
Yes.
So how long have you been in New York?
Only like 3 years. I've kind of lived a couple different places, but I've just been here like about 3 years.
Do you think like being in New York kind of like shifted your sound or anything like that? Like, how do you think New York influenced like the music you've been making?
I think part of me kind of always belonged here, actually. So like, I think New York just attracts a certain type of person and a certain type of artist. I mean, a lot of things have influenced my sound, you know, being from the South, and I lived in Chicago and I've done a lot of different things. So New York just has that energy, you know, it just gives you experiences that you are excited to write about. And as a writer, that's probably the way it's influenced me the most.
And I feel like, you know, everybody like always like gravitates to New York for their to write and to record, and because like a lot of the music industry hub is here too. But you also were like classically trained in Chicago, if I'm not mistaken.
Gospel trained, I guess. Yeah. I don't have any classical training. My sister's like an opera singer, but I never did that.
She's an opera singer.
She's an opera singer.
Did you ever try?
I just never had it, you know. I mean, you've heard my voice. You know, it's not like that.
I feel like opera singing is just like you just gotta like I don't know how to describe it, but
it's the way that mine is. It's just a natural thing. You either kind of have it. You can learn things.
Your lung capacity gotta be huge for that.
Insane. Yeah. Yes. So like actually, my whole life, growing up, like all of being a child and in my adolescence, I didn't know that I was a singer. I didn't know that I was good at singing.
Okay.
Because my sister was the one that was good at singing. She was an opera singer.
Right.
So like, you know, my whole family was like into that and supporting her. And it wasn't until way later in life that like other people heard me sing and were like, no, you're actually good at this.
Now, were your parents like, was it like kind of like the when one parent like just shows like a lot of attention to like that one, like for example, I had like a cousin, and one of them was really good at baseball, and the other one just kind of like was like good at, you know, just playing video games, just hanging out, and they would always like be like, oh, he's gonna go into the majors one day, he's gonna be like a pro baseball player. Was it kind of like that? And then you just kind of like were perfecting like your craft and like like on the side, low key on the side, like, and then you're like, I'm gonna outshine her one day.
No, oh my god, it's never like that, because my sister wasn't even into singing. She didn't even love it. Yeah, she does something completely different now. She doesn't sing anymore. So I mean, my parents have always been really supportive of me though.
That's
so
dope.
I'm not gonna like, you know, I'm not gonna talk down on them or anything, but they just, it took them a long time to come around to like really understand what it was that I was doing.
Right.
You know? Like
understand the type of music you were trying to make and all that.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, exactly.
So how do you feel that the gospel training has affected your music, you know?
I mean, I I learned how to really put my whole self into singing and performing with gospel music, because it's such a personal and obviously like a spiritual experience, that I think that's really what it gave me. And obviously I learned some things about singing too, technical things, and like about my range, but I think in a way it made me a better performer.
Because I feel like gospel music is just like a very like going from gospel music to like what you're doing now it's very dope, because like you get to incorporate that into the music you're currently making. I always think it's cool when you're able to like take one form of music and then like incorporate it into another, like, you know how like rock and hip hop are becoming like kind of a similar thing now. So you linked up with, forgive me if I do pronounce this wrong, Junior Sanchez, right? And he produced this EP for you. And he's also produced for Shakira, Katy Perry, and who was the last person that I was told?
All kinds of people.
Madonna? Yeah, Madonna.
And Daft Punk, and like all kinds of artists.
So how did that like happen? How'd that like friendship?
The way that things happen in New York City, which is just like one person knows one person, you meet each other, and it's funny because our mutual friend was kind of trying to get us to work together for a while. And it wasn't until he heard my demo version of Evening News that he was like, oh, what is this? Like, I need to, you know, I want to work with you. I want to be involved in this. So we kind of spent one day in the studio working with that, making some changes and listening to it, and then it all kind of snowballed out of control from there.
That's so dope. Yeah. So he produced every single song on the
EP. Yeah, they all had demo versions, and then he kind of came in and like put his flair, his magic on it. He like
sprinkled a little bit of magic on it, right?
Yeah.
So why did you decide to name the EP after the title song? Or why did you even decide to name the title song Evening News?
Yeah. So Evening News is a song about, the line about Evening News is what goes on in my heart ain't gotta go on the evening news. So I wrote the song itself one night. I was back home in Texas. I was out with a friend of mine, and people saw us together. And I wasn't living in Dallas anymore, so people were asking me so much. Like, people were hitting me up afterwards, like, wait, I saw you out with so-and-so. Like, what was going on? Like, I didn't know y'all were, what's the situation with that? Asking me all these questions. And I was like, wait. Like, this is my business though. Like, why are y'all asking me about my business? You know, so that's where the song came from. And then the EP itself, I decided to name the EP after that song because I felt like it was so fitting for like the theme of, I put all these songs out so that people could kind of get to know me. And then that Evening News is just a reminder, like, y'all know me, but y'all don't know me. There's still more to learn, and there's still parts of me that are very private. So that's what I
That's such like a dope, you know, I kind of like, I thought about it in that sense, you know, because like so much of our lives are put out on social media and stuff like that. And, you know, of course, everybody's just going to jump to conclusions. Like, if they see you out with one person, they'll be like, oh, but what happened to like this guy that you were with or this girl or whatever? And then they'll just automatically make it a subject, oh, he or she is cheating or like this and that. So I think that's very dope that you kind of like took that and like you incorporated into the meaning of like, there's more to know about me, you know, like for like when you put out future projects and you get, you know, even more personable with your fans.
Yeah.
So that's super dope. So how'd the track, because I got to talk about my favorite track.
Okay.
So switch it up. Yo.
I love switch it up.
Yo, Instant Bop. Because like, even when I saw it performed before everybody got there, I was like, yo, this is going to be crazy when everybody else is in this place. So how did that come about? And like, what was like, did Junior Sanchez have like a big hand in like making that, or how did that happen?
Yes. So Switch It Up, when I met Junior, Switch It Up was really just vocals.
Okay.
I had this story that I wanted to tell, and I had laid down just like quick vocals, and I was, Junior and I will, like, when we're in the studio together, we'll work on something and then we'll go off on a tangent and start watching music videos or talking about music history. Like, that's why being around him is so amazing, because he has so much knowledge to share. So, you know, one day we were kind of talking about what we wanted to do, and we started watching music videos, like old school videos, and he's like a legendary house producer. So he was kind of sharing with me his knowledge of house music and teaching me the history of all that, which is cool because it has roots in Chicago as well, and I've lived there. So I kind of decided then, like, I want to give this a little bit of a like house kind of dance feel. Like,
right.
How could we do that on this song?
Mm-hmm.
And then we came up with the idea to kind of like have the beat do this marriage of chopped and screwed music, which is where I'm from. It's from Houston. I'm from Texas. And what he does with this house music, and kind of put those two things together in the concept of this song. Vibe. And that's what we did, and I feel like it was very successful.
I fuck with it so heavy. It's so dope. Like that's a radio hit. I love it so much. It was like, it's just like the way it just flows, and it just, you know, it came on my shuffle the other day, and I was like, yeah, and then I was like, oh wait, this is Stone song. It was great. It was great, and the visuals for that are dope too. I love the visuals. And I love how you kept like all like the colors and stuff like that, like coinciding with your album, and it was just really dope. Something else that I know you did is the Stone Sundays, right? Mm-hmm. What I found interesting about that was because, you know, Ella Mai has kind of become like the singer of the summer with Boot Up and stuff like that, and she started off doing covers like that too. And then I'm aware that like you started doing the Stone Sundays, and you grew like a really quick following because like you were covering them. And I was watching some of them the other day. I think there was a Miguel one, and then you did like a Beyonce mashup with somebody else. Yeah. There was a lot of them.
Yeah, so I did a Beyonce and Jill Scott one. I like the mashups the best.
And you like kept it like aesthetically pleasing on your Instagram. Like it was all the way down the center. Like, I noticed. That was super dope. So what made you like want to do that? You know, like what made you want to just start these like Stone Sunday and like kind of like see this concept through and like keep doing it at the same time? Because I can imagine it's like very demanding, because, you know, you got to get the music in, then you got to sing, and then you got to record, and then you got to do the video and all that stuff like that. So I'm sure it takes up like a decent amount of your Saturday, Sunday to like kind of keep it like perfect, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I appreciate that you notice all the details, because I really do put a lot into that. I'm just a perfectionist.
I work in digital marketing. I saw that at the center. I was like, this Instagram is so aesthetically pleasing.
Thank you.
Because like the colors and then down the center, it was great.
And I'm a Libra, so I'm all about my aesthetics. You know, I like things to look nice. But really, the covers just started because it was just something that I wanted to do, and it just kind of grew on its own. Like, I started just singing and recording covers like years ago, and I would just do it every now and then. And then I was like, Stones on Sundays, like that might be cool. Maybe I should just like sing something every week. And, you know, because that was before any of my music was out. So people wanted a way to support me, and they wanted to hear me sing, but I wasn't doing shows because I was in the studio. So I was like, let me just give the people what they want. They want to hear me sing. And so covers, you know, were a fun way to just like share with people like my interpretation of songs that I've always loved. I mean, and I try to really switch it up on there. Like
no pun intended.
No pun intended. I know. Every time I say that now, I'm like, oh God. But like I've done, like I sang a Drake song. I like turned his rap into a song that I could sing. But then I also have sung Anita Baker and all, you know, Mary J. Blige, like some of my favorites. So I like to, you know, keep it funky and fresh.
Yeah, okay. The Stone Sunday thing I think is so cool, because I think the biggest part for, like, one of the hardest things for artists to do is be able to touch their audience while they're in the studio, when between albums or between projects or singles, whatever. And, they'll post a picture every now and then, but they're not really giving their fans like what they really want, they're only seeing them, they're not hearing them. So I think that's a really interesting way of like being able to keep connecting with your fans even when you're working and stuff like that, or even when downtime between projects, or when you're in the studio or on tour or whatever. So I thought that idea was really dope. I thought it nail on the head with that one.
Thank you.
So working with Junior, I mean, I'm sure some of the people he's worked with have been like, some of your biggest influences, but like, who are your biggest influences music wise, today, past, present, whatever?
Yeah. Well, Erykah Badu is my favorite.
Okay.
I just feel like I can really relate to her, also because she's from Dallas, and so I've, run into her a bunch of times. I've seen her live a bunch of times. I love her sound, and I love how she is so unapologetically herself.
Right.
You know, she has 3 kids by 3 different men, and she's not married, and she's not apologizing for that, and I don't think she should.
Right, and she does a great job with those kids too, because I always see her with
Yeah.
Andre 3000, and it's not like, there's no problem there. They're just, you know,
Exactly.
they're co-parenting.
Yeah, and like they seem to have like a really cool relationship, but they don't like call it anything. I'm like all about that. I'm just inspired by the way that she like lives her life, like really in her own path.
Right, like she does her own thing. She doesn't really bother nobody. She'll
Yeah.
pop up every couple of years, but she won't like, you know, she won't bother anybody. And then she'll just go back into like her whatever, wherever she goes, and she just chills and that's it.
Yeah.
What else would you say? Would that be it, or?
Oh my gosh, who do I love? I also mostly grew up listening to hip hop, so I would say like Outkast is my other favorite artist of all time. You mentioned
Andre.
Yeah, and I think they just did such a unique thing with their sound. I try to like kind of keep that in mind. I tell myself a lot, like, you know, the word outcast itself, like you don't have to fit in. You don't have to do the wave. You know, you don't have to follow what everybody else is doing.
Right.
They came out and were, you know, everyone's like, y'all some aliens. Like, what is this? You know, and I really keep that with me. Like, I can do my own thing too, and maybe it'll take longer for people to come around to it or figure it out, but I know that that's what's right for me. So I'm gonna be an original, and I'm gonna be Stones 100%.
But you're definitely on the right path. So like, what are your, you know, like, what are you working on now? What's your goal? Like, what's like, you know, what's next? Because after this EP is out, you know, it's doing great. What do you have like next in store? I know that's kind of like a scary question, because you're like, you know, you're like,
no, I'm ready.
I'm
always two steps ahead. You know, I'm keeping it pushing. Right now I'm just trying to do as many shows as I can. I just want to be on everybody's stage, singing as many songs, you know, as they'll let me do. And that's my biggest goal right now, is to, you know, build my fan base and let people hear the music that I have, because it's good, you know. I like it. I want people to hear it.
Switch it up, come on, man. Everybody get on that shit.
Yeah. So I'm kind of all over the place, just like, you know, trying to do shows, and then I'm a songwriter at my core too, and I can't ever stop doing that.
Right.
So the last couple of days, I've been like obsessively writing new music and recording new demos, like just in my house, like just with whatever.
Yeah, I think I saw it on your Instagram story that you were recording in like your room or something like that.
Yeah,
that's dope.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm excited to do that. I'm always writing something new.
Gotcha. So you got a new project coming, hopefully?
Definitely. I mean, I don't know. I don't have a time frame on that yet, but I'm about to be back in the studio heavy and. Yeah, get some new music out soon. So,
Stone Sundays, it's been a little while, right? So we're going to get that back soon, too?
I don't know. I've been thinking about that a lot lately. Like, is that old? Is that, like, what I was doing? Like, do I want to switch it up? You know?
Yeah, there you go. You can start something new that, like, you could still connect with your fans on, like, in a way that was similar to how you were connecting with them on Stone Sunday. Yeah,
I might start doing it again. I'm not really sure. I don't know.
All right, well, tell everybody what they need to know, where they can get your EP, and anything else you got going on. Don't hesitate.
My EP is called Evening News. My name is Stones. It's on all the platforms. You just gotta search it and find it.
SoundCloud. We'll link the SoundCloud down below. We got you. Get the plays in.
Yeah. My Instagram is Stones_music. Hopefully you'll see some new Stones on Sundays soon. Yeah. All my social medias are Stones_music.
Dope. Thank you so much for being our first guest.
Thank you for having me.
Make sure you go check out her new EP. And yeah, we'll link it below. You'll get it right down there. Thank you for coming.
Thanks.